In today's JOCR news, we take a look at Apple's next subscription service, Apple Health Plus, what it will be capable of and when it will be released. We also discuss the next update for iOS 26.0.2, which is surprisingly early and explains why we can probably only expect one M5 MacBook, the reasons behind this and whether it might be a small surprise. Now everything in the JOCR news. Let's go! What's up? This is your JOCR all about Apple, and we're starting the news early with a news quickie because a lot has happened again, and we're kicking things off with the week's most exciting news. What is the difference between being inspired and shamelessly copying something? Decide for yourself. This is the new operating system from Chinese smartphone manufacturer Vivo, which has unveiled its new Origin OS 6 operating system. What Origin stands for remains unclear, but it's certainly not original. And well, how can I put it? It looks a little bit like liquid glass from Apple. Or where does inspiration and poor copying begins? For me, if you develop something further, such as Apple's Dynamic Island, and this Dynamic Island can do something Apple's Dynamic Island can't do, that's fine. But simply copying everything and selling it as your own is really copying, isn't it? But that's just my opinion. Now it's your turn. Write me your thoughts into the comments, please. It won't be long before the first full update for iOS 26 arrives, namely iOS 26.1. But now there is information that iOS 26.0.2 and macOS 26.0.2 will probably be released beforehand, which could presumably also be related to the new products that are due to arrive very soon and which we have already reported on. More on that in a moment, because this version probably plays a role in that. And by the way, there was another Apple event, but none of us were invited, and it wasn't the possible Apple event in October. Instead, a photographer shared this invitation to Colorado on X, and he and other influencers went to the Rocky Mountains to try out the new iPhones, Apple Watches and AirPods in a beautiful outdoor setting. When I see these pictures, I immediately get wanderlust again, but let's move on. There's movement in Apple's fitness division, at least internally for now. We already reported that Apple Health Plus, a new subscription service that will put a strain on our wallets, could be launched soon. This Health Plus subscription is supposed to include an AI assistant that offers personalized recommendations as on nutrition, exercise and sleep, and is expected to launch next year together with a new Siri, hopefully. In preparation for this, Apple is already merging its health and fitness departments into one group, which will be headed by my buddy Eddie Q, who is already in charge of the service division. We can look forward to seeing how good this assistant actually is. Siri, I hear you coming, but please, with a big update. Last week we reported that two products would come very soon, the iPad Pro M5 and the Apple Vision Pro 2 with M5 chip. And now there are further interesting developments that, once you've thought them through, make perfect sense. But first things first, it is still unclear whether we will see a press release or an event invitation. And if you're watching this video, it may that Apple has just sent out the invitations. We were just talking about macOS 26.0.2, which is likely to be released very soon and may be related to future products. And that seems to be the case because the website Apple Insider has inside information that a MacBook Pro with the M5 chip is being tested, but only this model, and that seems to shed some light on something we've been reporting on repeatedly, because it was never clear when the new MacBook Pro models would be released. Some like Ming-Chi Kuo said this year, others like Mark Gurman from Bloomberg said early next year, and somehow they're both right. Let me explain. It looks like there will be a split here. As we saw with the MacBook Pro 13-inch with the M1 chip in 2020, where the model was introduced in the fall, and the 14 and 16-inch models with the M1 Pro and Max didn't arrive until October 2022. The same thing happened again with the M2 chip, where the 13-inch MacBook Pro came out in June 2022 and the M2 Pro and M2 Max came out in January 2023. That was the end of it when there were only 14 and 16-inch models left and the 13-inch was discontinued. Now Apple seems to be reviving this process and will very soon be releasing the MacBook Pro with the M5 chip, followed by the M5 Pro and Max models in early 2026 with macOS 26.3, which would be released in January, which also explains why there is only one entry at the FCC for an unreleased MacBook Pro model. When I think about it, it would be a very awesome surprise if this single model were Apple's new ultra-thin MacBook that has been rumored for a while, and then there would be only be a Pro and a Max chip with the 14 and 16-inch models, right? That would be my hot take, but it could also be that it's just the MacBook Pro with an M5 chip. As always, we'll have to wait and see, and as soon as there are any news, I'll keep you up to date, of course. If you don't want to miss it, grab the free JOCR subscription for more tech and happiness in your life. And now I'd say you're all fired up for the week. Thank you very much for watching. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.